I got to change the thing there. So Philip, are you fully rested?
Yeah, yeah.
Because that was definitely a theme of like this past. So for everyone that isn't aware, because again, this is going out to everyone, and we had only
That's
briefly
right.
mentioned this in previous bonus bits. So I had decided just it was like a month and a half ago.
Something like that. Yeah,
Yeah,
there was
like I
there
was just
was
like, we're bringing back the Dirtbags Invitational, which was something I did. I did it twice, once in 2017 and once in 2018. Um,
uh
it was whenever your niece was born.
she
Was the
just turned
was the first?
6,
So that's about right. 20. Okay, maybe 2018 was the first.
2018.
Maybe
Yeah.
that was the first one then. Um, and then I just like we need to bring it back. But previously it was all like very board games focused. Um, but I was like, okay, so we've been playing. We play a bunch of different story games. That was really the crux of it. Is I had talked with our D&D group, and it was our RPG group in total. Sorry, I'm trying to recenter my camera here.
Mm.
And I was trying. I was really wanting to play like some dungeon crawling kind of games, like RPGs.
Mhm.
Playing some like I said mega dungeons, but it turns out I really just meant dungeons.
Right.
Um, and going through some of these classics, to think Tomb of Horrors esque style of adventures, or just like you're just roaming through there trying to avoid traps or whatever. And all our group's friends, they were all like, we really just want to play like story focused games. It's not really our thing. And I was like, well, I want to play these. So it was just like, okay, I'm gonna find a bunch of people. We're gonna go play D&D in the woods and do some of this stuff, because especially when you're talking a weekend, you're not gonna do
Mhm.
like a ongoing campaign. Although some people do, where
Yep.
they like pick it up every year. Um, so yeah, I got a couple people. So of course I knew Philip would be down, because that's
Heck yeah.
he's usually up for about anything, and B, that's kind of it's definitely something that I could picture him having fun. But then invited a couple people from North Carolina that I hadn't played with in a while. Ended up just being one of our friends. Somebody else was supposed to come, but they were adults and get worn out real easily, and
Yeah.
wasn't worth the drive. And I didn't want anybody like stretching themselves to try and come. Um, but that is definitely the thing. Next year or next time, I'm definitely going to need to plan better, so that hopefully I can get more people. Because
Get more bodies. Yeah.
I think if we had like 2 to 3 more people, not saying it would be better, but it would definitely there would have been a lot. Uh, what's the word I'm looking for? I think there would have been a lot more we could have done.
Mhm.
Because
Definitely.
like, if one person starts yawning and there's three of us, it's like, oh, suddenly everyone's getting tired.
Yeah, yeah, it's like
Like Philip's
let's
like, I'm gonna go take a nap, and then like Ryan and I were like, well, we need to leave because otherwise we're gonna start falling asleep. So, uh, I ended up being up there. I got up there way early than everybody else because I kind of took advantage and just kind of took the week off and did a bunch of like painting. It's funny, you guys saw how much stuff I brought, where I was just like
Uh-huh.
boxes and boxes of like stuff to get painted and things. I was like, because like I'm gonna just enjoy this being away, and get a bunch of stuff painted. And then like I brought some like video games to play, and then the internet being ended up being crap, so I didn't play any of those. And then I
Oh
went
man,
like I
that
started.
was
Yeah, it was not good. And
it
this.
was like I don't even know about I just know I kept getting disconnected from the Wi-Fi.
Yeah,
Just random. I'm like, where is this? This is not a
yeah, I kept having to do the whole like I'm gonna reboot the Wi-Fi and just unplug it and plug it back in. There was a reset button on the back that I got told about at the last minute, that I thought about trying, but it was one of those you have
mm.
to have like a pin to like push it to reset.
Oh, like a pen or a paper clip. Yeah, yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
and I just didn't feel like doing it. And by that point, it was like the next to last day. So, um, But yeah, I didn't get nearly as much stuff as I thought I was gonna get painted. Um, I was like, oh, I'm gonna get all these tanks for Horse Heresy painted, and I like got them like base coated and a bunch of other things, and then I went to there we go, and then I went to like actually start detail. I was like, I don't want to do this. uh, but I did get a lot of like character stuff that I've been wanting to do done for a while. Like here, I actually have the so like this guy was like a mini from um, it was like the Warhammer Plus second year, where it was like a world
Okay.
eater, and he'd just been sitting in my box forever since I got him. So I finally broke him out and started painting him up, and I think he turned out really well. Uh, so I did get some stuff done. Oops, wrong one. There we go. But so then we get like to Thursday, and it was really funny because like both you and Ryan showed up at the same time.
Yeah.
Like I was like talking to Ash on the phone. I'm like, "Oh, Philip's here," and up, Ryan's here
I
too.
actually saw him. I saw him pull into the not the one we were supposed to, the next one,
Yeah,
and I recognized that was not a Virginia license plate,
right,
but I couldn't tell if I'm like, is that North Carolina? I don't know.
right. And Recipito, I'm not playing World Eaters. It was just it was the figure you got for being a subscriber. So I painted it up real nice. Like I'll probably put it up here. Like this is a nice display area.
Hmm?
But that's what it was. That's really that was what the point of it was. But because I wasn't playing it, I wasn't painting it, and then I finally got it out of my queue.
There you
But how hard was it you to find the place?
go. Like getting to the welcome center was fine.
Okay.
I definitely would not have. I would not have gone left out of the welcome center parking lot to go back down the hill
Hmm.
if I had been like trying to find the actual unit on my own.
Well, yeah, that's why I was like that. It's kind of hard for me to. The only other idea I would have had is I thought about just like putting a GPS pin and then just like sending my
On the thing.
location.
Yeah, like that. I probably would have found it then. Yeah, but that
That
was
was going to be the other. But when I had an actual address for the welcome center, because I had to have it because I went to the wrong welcome center because we were in like a
yeah,
subsection. So I was like, well, I have the address. I'm just going to give them that address. But
yeah, that
oh,
worked out.
I actually forgot. I took a picture. This is what I was talking about with the sprues. Um, here, I'll just make it.
Oh yeah, making like planks.
Yeah. So and then I got a drill actually, like a little. It's a Dremel, but it's like fits. It's a very tiny one that I could just slip in my bag. Um, and rounded all these corners off. So the idea is to make it. I'm gonna spray paint it or spray it and then like do some dry brushing to make it look like bricks.
Yeah, yeah.
So
And then there was this drill.
and then there was this drill, and she was like, "There's no way."
There's no way.
So made sure to bring the game topper.
That worked very nice.
Yeah, that was very nice. Especially I think that was the first RPG I've played on the game topper.
Oh, cool.
So man, we had that was the good part is um I was glad that like there was somebody that was very good at cooking because like I was willing to do some cooking,
Uh
but
huh.
like I'm very bland when it comes to like cooking, where it's like okay, here's chicken, veggies, and a sauce. Like that's the,
Yeah, it's like I can cook for me very well.
yeah. So like that's kind of like I'm not saying I can't cook. I'm just not very uh well whatever. Anyways, um so oh actually, you know what? While we're sitting here talking about this, I have the videos right here. Let's see. Can I mute this? I'll mute the tab.
Videos of what, Chris?
The video that I sent you guys.
Oh, okay, that video. You said videos, and I was like,
Oh,
what
okay.
did you do while I was sleeping?
So it's probably going to stutter a lot because I'm playing it on my computer. But this is the
Oh,
place that we went to. Yeah, it was up in Massanutten. Um, got a rental up there. Really cool. Oh, let's not show the code. Oh well.
I mean, hopefully
I'm
they probably
assuming they've
changed it.
changed it. Yeah.
Yeah, that's
But
if anybody's ever up at Unit 160.
yeah, exactly. I did like that it was like I memorized the code by the end, but not having to deal with like keys was kind of cool.
Yes.
I just made sure to take a picture of it, so that was like I'm gonna forget this, so then it's on my phone. Um, but yeah, the place was great. Like it's not the like it's not 5-star, but I thought it was nice and quaint.
It was good. I definitely so I mean, are you about to go into the front bathroom?
Probably. I don't remember.
Okay. I don't think that's what that room was originally for in the plans.
You think that was like a bedroom?
I think a bedroom or I
Yeah, it was way bigger than it needed to be.
yeah, it was so huge.
Yeah, and that was even including they had like a 2-person like
A
jacuzzi tub in there.
two-person jacuzzi tub, the sauna part,
Yeah.
like that. Oh, and then I looked in there. Holy, did you ever look in the sauna?
Yeah, I looked in the sauna.
Oh my god, that
No, this is
was
the part where I
so
spent like
tempting.
5 minutes trying to figure out where the light was to the
And that which that also like that also leads me to believe that that room was not a bathroom too, because the only place I've ever experienced the light switch outside of the bathroom
Yeah.
was our apartment for our second tour in Germany.
Ah,
But when you hit the switch also lit up to let you know the light was on.
gotcha. Yeah. I made jokes. It was like, well, technically you could fit all 4 people in the
You could fit
actual.
all 4 people in there, man.
So yeah, there was a sauna in there and everything. But yeah, so I like I said, it was quaint, but I thought it was perfectly fine. Like
Yeah,
you could
it was
tell it
nice.
was built in the '80s and a couple of small modifications. But I thought it was perfect, especially for considering I got it for a week for the price I did.
Yeah.
So, yeah, like lots of technically, I think it's listed as seating 8 because there was 2 bedrooms and then 2. You'll see as we go upstairs. There's actually I think I'll see if I skip forward a little bit. Yeah, there's the backyard piece and mountain thing. But like there was a loft upstairs where like the 2 bedrooms were, and then there was also like this open area where there were 2 single twin beds. And then I
Yep.
think the couch. Well, I know the couch pulled out because I looked underneath it to like when I was leaving to like double check, make sure nothing fell or rolled under or something.
Hmm.
And you could see the bed underneath the mechanics underneath. So yeah,
Gotcha.
technically would fit 8. I mean, honestly, if we had a decent crew going, there was plenty of space. We could have like thrown up some beds. Like,
Yeah.
I've got cots, you've got cots and air mattresses. Like there was plenty of space. You know. But what any other comments on the actual the villa itself?
Um, uh, I don't know. I wouldn't call it a villa. It sounds too romantic.
Well, that's what they called it. That's I don't know what like townhouse maybe?
I would say townhouse. Yeah.
Townhouse? Um
I did appreciate that we had an end unit.
Yeah. So you didn't hear I had the sides from, but it wasn't really that
Yeah.
popular. Granted, the Massanutton's more of a ski resort, and so this is like
Hmm.
very beginning of the summer season where they had other stuff. Um, and so even if we'd had a middle unit, I don't think we would have had like noise on both sides, just
Right.
judging from the parking lot. We didn't hear anybody till that last night, and I think there was people there the entire week because I saw cars there the entire week. Um, and of course, this resort has like a ton of other stuff as well. We didn't get into it because it was one of those like, if we start doing stuff outside the unit, we'll never get
We're not
anything.
gonna play
We're
D&D.
not gonna
Yeah.
play D&D or anything else. We kicked off Thursday night with uh, the gamers Darkness Rising, because I
Yes.
had talked about it previously. We had, like when we were going up, um, or like a couple weeks before, Philip and I were just like joking about it, and I had brought up the Darkness Rising. I was like, oh, I want to see that again. And he's like, if only there was like a weekend where we are going to be playing a bunch of games. Oh, this was where you had that weird piece on the floor, and I was just
Yeah,
like, I'm just
which is
gonna,
what it was, the plumbing to the shower.
yeah, I'm just gonna
That's
push
what it
this up.
was.
I'm gonna push this back up. um, I think that's pretty much the video's almost over. All right, go back to the two of us. So if you've never seen the gamers Darkness Rising and you're an RPG gamer, I highly recommend you go see it. You will probably also get a lot more of the references that we do here on the show.
Mhm.
Um, but so we watched that just to kind of get our minds into that frame, and then Friday it began. Well, it began later when Philip finally woke up.
That
So
too.
I got woke up at like 5, 6 o'clock by some bird dying in my window. That, and just the entire time we were gone, the entire time I was up there, I could not sleep in past like 7, and Ryan happened to be up as well. So um, he one day made us scones, like cardamom scones, which was
There we
kind
go.
of funny. Like he had learned the recipe from when he had taken it, when he had got them at a restaurant and found a recipe online, but because of our history with cardamom
With cardamom, yeah.
in the Dirtbags of Holding, he offered to make them, and that was good. Those were good. A little dry because we didn't have a solid measuring cup for like shoveling in flour, so it was kind of like that, eyeballing it. But I'm not blaming him for that. I'm just blaming the. I could have been like better at taking pictures of what there was in the kitchen.
Eh,
So, um, but so while we got up and started, I learned Cat in the Box from Bezier Games, which is like a trick taking game, um, where you all the cards in your hand are black. There's no suit or anything on them, and you basically declare what color they are when you play them, and you have to mark off a board like that. Okay, this card has been played, and as people play more and more cards, now you there are cards potentially you can't play because there are 5 copies of every card, and there are only 4 suits. And
yeah.
if you play if you end up where the only card you can play is a card that's technically already been played, you get a paradox, and you get basically you bust if you're used to uh, other trick taking games. And I don't know what about it. Like I had heard other people talk about Cat in a Box, and for whatever reason, they did not make it sound interesting at all. Like any other reviews that I've heard about Cat in a Box just did not sound really worthwhile at all. But
Okay.
the gameplay, I know you're not you ended up playing it and you weren't a fan because you're not a fan of trick
Yeah,
taking
I'm
games in
not a
general.
giant fan of the trick taking games.
But I really enjoyed it. Like kind of the point I kind of want to get it. I don't know when I would play it, but it was a really neat game. So if you'd heard about it and you like trick taking games, and a review had maybe made you think, well, that doesn't. I would maybe watch some playthroughs instead, and maybe get a different or borrow it or demo it somewhere, because you might be surprised. And then then we finally got up. When Philip got up and done everything, we made characters for White Plume Mountain. That's the dungeon I wanted to run because I a lot of people, if you look online, like what's your favorite D&D adventure, a lot of people say White Plume Mountain. It's got a little bit of everything. If you look into some of the backing, he's like, this was what I used to kind of sell Gary Gygax on hiring me to work at TSR. Not me. I'm talking about the author. Um, but I decided to kind of make everything, or to give us a little bit of extra stuff to make it even more fun. I got everybody dice sets from Beetle and Grimm's that were on the podcast. I made sure I got myself the Game Master set, and everybody also got a player's logbook, so that if we did want to like make this into a continuing thing, that like they could write down what happened. Um, White Plume Mountain is not as deadly as Tomb of Horrors per se. I say per se because you're about to find out what happened. But yeah, I got myself the Game Master die. I had gotten Philip because when we were talking about making characters and I made a joke. I was like, "Oh, Philip's gonna play a barbarian." He's like, "Why would I play anything else?" And so I bought him the barbarian set, and then he messages me when like because I also had everybody make minis on Eldritch Foundry, and I had our other Chris friend 3D print them in resin. And he's like, "Yeah." I was like, "Oh, you're playing a Dragonborn?" And he's like, "Yeah, I'm playing a monk." I was like, "Philip, like the one the one time you change is after I've already bought everything, and they were already in hand. They had already arrived by that point. But I think it'll work out because you'll probably end up using the
That monk was
barbarian,
great.
huh?
That monk was great.
The monk was great. Long story short, the monk is the only one that survived White Plume Mountain. So we get in, and because one of our friends had not shown up, and it was only two of them, I was like, "Well, that's not going to work so well without some modifications." We had like basically Philip volunteered to play a second character, and we had him make something up. So we had, let's see, we had a Dragonborn monk. We had, I think it was a human warlock, is I think what Ryan was.
That's
I
oh
think
yeah, I
he
don't
was. I
even
think it was. I think it
remember.
was human because he said I think he took the feet from
Oh, because he did some yeah.
and then was it a halfling? Yeah, it was
Halfling
a
rogue.
halfling rogue was the second character you made.
Yep.
And we set out, got it, and it was funny because like I'm kind of like fixing it on the fly because there's a couple of rolls. Like I was talking to them about it, where like the very first roll they have you do is like when you enter the cave and you get to the trap to like open the door, like the main. This is the trap door that opens the dungeon, and it has a
Uh-huh.
DC 20. Like granted, these are level 8 characters, but it's like, why are you gonna put a difficulty check on the entrance to the dungeon? Like,
Yep.
I
So,
get it if this was like a side entrance and like there's a benefit of going this way versus the main way, but like this is the only way in, and you're gatekeeping it behind a D20 roll of
yeah.
20, and it's like, no,
I
you're
mean,
just,
think about if you've got like what's a decent 4 or 5 players.
yeah,
It's like everybody fails the strength. All right, we're going home.
yeah. It's like, okay, well, or just like keep rolling. Oh, nope, keep rolling. Oh, cool, you finally made it.
To the to the from Office Space. Okay, going to burn the building down.
Yeah. So I was just like, okay, we're not going to do that. We're just going to, all right, you're going down the stairs. Um,
Yay!
I went and bought the adventure. In fact, it was kind of cool. I waited till the last minute because I was just waiting to get paid, and then I bought the adventure on D&D Beyond. But they had a 50 or a D&D 50 sale right when I went to buy it, so it ended up being cheaper, which was great because then I was able to bring in all the stuff for like the encounter builders, which
That's nice.
was very handy for like managing characters and HP and stuff, because like you could just tap a character and it brings up their sheet, and then tap the next character and it brings up their sheet, so you can quickly flip between their stat sheets easily. I will just say it is definitely better if you like load all that in advance, because I was basically taking the same encounter and just editing it to like, okay, this dungeon now, or this room has these two things in it. Um, but had that's the one caveat, is I wish like if you bought the dungeon, it would already have those things loaded in.
Get those encounters yeah.
Yeah, like I feel like that should have been built in, but oh well. Um, So the crew heads off, and they manage to go down like the first path. So there's like three. The dungeon kind of branches into three sections, and there's basically a sentient weapon at the end of each path. And they managed to get all the way to the end of the first one. Almost popped a bubble that caused a bunch of boiling water to fall, and would have probably killed everybody.
Yeah.
But they managed to beat the crab that was there. That was really interesting because you guys went through. There was only three of y'all, but y'all really like it. I saw there like the health on it was like 160, 168 or something like that. And some of the other fights had taken a little bit of time. Granted, it was because like you were swimming or something else, and there was other
Yeah.
pieces involved. So I was like, "Oof, this is gonna take a while." And then you guys just like shucked down that guy's health in no time. I think it was also because you started becoming more familiar with the rogue and like getting the sneak attack bonuses in.
Yep. Sneak attack bonus, and playing with the key points for flurry of blows.
Yeah.
Which that had a lower success rate than what I had seen.
But
Well, it's also because I was trying to be like our forever DM, and I'm not up there yet,
yeah.
making a character that way.
Yeah, which you should have like ran it by Chris and been like, "Hey, did I do
Yeah,
this right?"
this is my monk. Please help.
Yeah.
And he would have been like, no, no, no. You're right. Did you even read the book?
But so but on the flip side, like you guys started wailing on it, and then I was like, "Oh, maybe this is gonna go too fast." And then the thing comes in and just snap and just instant kills the monk, like just dead. I was like, "Oh,
Yeah.
okay."
You're like,
Like
that's how that works.
you're
Yep,
hitting
yep.
it for a lot, but if it hits you, it's taking you down. And I love it was like like Ryan was like, "I'm gonna heal you, but just to get you like on your feet, like you're gonna
With
die
one.
again, and I'm gonna have to heal you again. But that's just like we just need you on your feet so you don't permadeath."
Exactly.
But so then you got then the monk ended up with the sentient trident.
With the trident. Yep.
So what'd you
Because
think of?
it's technically a staff type weapon.
Yeah. Yeah, I did some little bit of fluxing in there just because I thought
Oh,
it'd be funny for
100%.
you to use the trident. Uh, so that was a lot of fun. But then they ended up down the second pathway. Philip, you want to talk about that?
Well, don't forget we drained the water.
Well, yeah, yeah.
That was
No,
the big thing. Like
everybody
this
was
whole
doing.
dungeon is basically underwater.
Yeah, well, or, no, it's like it's partially. It's like a
Yeah.
it's like up to your knees basically. So there's a lot of like traps that are hidden underneath the water, but they happen to pick the way first that had the drain that they could turn to drain it. So by the time they went down the other two pathways, the quote traps that were there
Are now
were actually
exposed.
exposed.
Yeah, so that was which was the first one the other pit, or was the first one the slime?
Well, you started going down that way that had the pit,
Yeah.
and then you
And they were
got to
just
the
like, nope, turn
then
around.
then you got to the corridor that like heats up all metal, and you couldn't
Oh
figure out how to
yes.
do that. So you're like, well, let's go down the other corridor and we'll get back to this. And then that's where like the
Uh-huh.
slime that everybody's taking forever to try and figure out how to get over this slime. And I'm like, if you just run through it real fast, like
Like, ha.
it's supposed to be more of a thing when you don't see the slime, like
Yeah.
when you
You're
can
you're
see
just
it,
walking in the
it's
water
just
and all
like,
of a sudden you're dying.
yeah, exactly.
Okay, yeah. But yeah, we walked across the slime, and then we came to an open cavern with a bunch of round planks hanging from strings
Yep.
or from chains.
Oh, that was
Yeah, and
after
there's
there was
more.
the room that had all the prime numbers, and
Oh yeah, the prime number. Yeah, because it
there was like 5 flesh golems, and one of the
yeah,
numbers.
5, 7, 9, 11, 13, and like my brain,
Yeah.
it wasn't even I had to sit there and think about it. He was just like 5, 7, 9. I'm like, nine's wrong.
It was funny because I fully because Ryan is a math professor, so
Uh
I knew it wasn't going to take y'all that long, but
yeah,
it was surprised me that Philip was the first one to come in and be like, nine's wrong.
yeah, like nine's wrong. And then 11, 13. Yep, 9's wrong. That confirms.
Yeah. So, but then you get to a bunch of platforms hanging from wires with boiling mud underneath. And
Boiling mud.
Philip decides, okay, I'm gonna take us through what your thought process was
I'm
here.
gonna. So my eventual goal was to get the rogue across and to tie a rope between all the platforms, not to draw them closer and farther away from each other, but just to have that extra handhold so you don't fall.
Yep.
And then I tried to do some fancy acrobatic bullshit. And did I roll a 1
I don't think you rolled a
or
one
did I roll a 2?
because you would have been able to re-roll it.
Oh, because
Because
I'm lucky I would have been able to reroll.
yeah,
That's right.
no,
Yeah. So I
it was
probably rolled like
low.
a 2 or 3.
Yeah, so Philip misses getting on the first platform and is just like if I'd been playing by the rules, it would have been like, up, he's dead.
Yep.
But
I think you
instead,
gave Ryan a chance to catch me.
I was like, I'm gonna give you a chance to catch you. And so the monk actually did it, and you did catch it.
That's right. I did catch me.
You did actually succeed on catching him. And then Ryan's like, well, I'm gonna help pull him up. And so I was like, okay, you guys need to make a strength check. And then you failed the strength check. So it's like the rogue pulls you all down. Instant party wipe.
No, somehow the monk survived.
Well, the monk survived, yes, because only because the monk was a fire dragonborn.
Fire dragon.
Had fire resistance
resistant, yeah.
and managed to be able to be nimble enough to get back up
It's like
the side.
because you were like, every round you're going to take 44 points of damage.
Yeah, and
You
it
need to
was
do
like
something.
by the time that the dragonborn could even try and get up, everybody else in the party's already dead.
Yeah, that was so. I took my sentient staff and we went home.
Yeah, only a third of the gold, but that was still some like 10,000 gold, I think, probably left.
Yeah, like all the gems and random
Yeah.
crap we kept finding in there.
But I mean, ultimately, if you look at so there was 3 segments, and you kind of went through half of the second one, so it was basically halfway. Because
Okay.
I was telling Ryan that the way it would have worked is if you had gotten to the other side of that room, either the next room or the room following that, that was the room that had the second sentient weapon.
Okay.
And you would have had to fight like a vampire or something.
Oh, I got you. A vampire. Need radiant damage for vampires.
Yeah. Well, yeah,
Sounds like a
and
big
there was a sacred flame. Probably would have.
That's right. He had Sacred Flame.
Yeah.
That would have done stuff. Yeah, yeah.
But so then like after we finished all that, and it was just kind of like, well, end of that, I guess.
Yep.
And so we finished off the night. We watched because they had not seen, or Philip had only seen the Gamers 2, Darkness Rising. So it's like,
Yep.
well, I want to show you the original Gamers, and then it was mainly because like they talk about like the shadow and everything, and I wanted to
Yes.
kind of get that reference for Hands of Fate.
You do have to have that. Yeah.
So then we started Hands of Fate, but Hands of Fate is long.
Oh my God, it's almost 3 hours.
It was like 2.5, I think.
Yeah.
So we watched like half
holy
of.
hell, man.
We watched half of the third one, Hands of Fate, and then finished up the next night.
There's like mega Marvel franchises that weren't that long.
Yeah. But so yeah, you hadn't seen Hands of Fate. What'd you think of that?
I had
one?
not. It was. I was expecting. I have a bit of a. I saw Aliens before I saw Alien.
Mm-hmm.
And it had that same feeling of like, wow, Alien sucked.
Are you talking about the first one, or are you talking about Darkness Rising?
No, so like Darkness Rising was great.
Yeah.
The
Oh
gamers,
yeah, you're talking about the Gamers. Yeah, it's rough.
Yeah, I'm like, oh, that
Like there's some good moments, but it's rough.
I watched it. Also, I'm not a. I feel like you're more of like the AV buff than I am.
Mm-hmm.
But some of the DM's audio.
Yeah, it would
like,
be.
oh God,
like,
guys.
He would phone, and then sometime it'd be like right there at it.
Oh,
You could
or
tell
some
some of it was dubbed and some of it wasn't. Is what it
yeah.
was.
Also, some of it was like he was talking through a Pringles can.
Yeah,
Um, I was like, I mean, I don't know.
but
I
I
don't
imagine
normally
for
pay
that
attention
movie,
or
it was
notice that
basically
stuff.
like they were, you know, you got
They
to
were
imagine,
on probably a couple of camcorders that used VHS tapes. Okay.
or 8 millimeter tapes. I'd be more surprised, probably, because you got to remember this was like 2000. Like
Yeah.
this isn't smartphone territory.
Oh God. I mean, God, we had my parents had a VHS camcorder
Yeah,
from the early '90s,
or
man.
not 8 millimeter. I'm talking about the little mini tapes.
Uh, Either VHS-C or that one
No, it
digital-ish
wasn't
kind
digital.
of.
I think I'm thinking VHS-C.
Okay, yeah.
Yeah, that's what like my grandmother had one of those. And like you always do the like disappearing trick where like you like I have this pillow and then it's like you pause it and throw the pillow away and like it's gone.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, it
So
was it was definitely.
but
But
then
but then Hands of Fate,
like yeah, Hands of Fate's like we've got a solid movie here. Like
bro, that's a great movie.
production value and storyline and everything.
Uh-huh. Some audio hiccups
Yeah.
I noticed. But also man, seeing the carpet of the ICC, dude.
Yeah. Cuz
Like I don't know,
there's a
that's
section of
I
the movie where they're at Gen Con.
seeing and that's I think like visceral's the wrong word,
Mhm.
but seeing that carpet and also like I'm never gonna see that carpet ever again.
Yeah.
Not that I'm not gonna ever go to Gen Con again. That carpet's gone.
Yeah.
And I know a lot of people are like, "Oh, it's just a freaking carpet." Bro, there were people in the Gen Con Facebook group who traveled from their normal like New York, California, Texas, whatever, to go get pieces of that carpet.
Yeah. There were people selling scraps of it.
Uh-huh. It's nuts. Like we have an appreciation for the Indiana Convention Center.
It's just because it was such an icon. Like it's such a
Yes.
weird carpet that
Uh-huh.
you only ever saw something like that at Gen Con or Indianapolis. Did it
But
make you
I
feel
did kind of
nostalgic for Gen Con?
I do feel a little nostalgic for Gen Con. I can't go this year. I already too, but I got a plan. I got a plan.
Got a plan?
I do. Got a plan. But I think I couldn't tell. So you remember when Flynn walked in and high-fived the guy from
Yeah,
Paizo? Um and then when he gets back to like wherever they're sitting and he just looks exhausted as shit.
yeah,
I'm like, okay, is that one of those like it's just been a day reconnecting with people? Or because what you see
yeah,
is you just see him high five some random dude as he walks in to the dealer hall. But he also had like the special badge holder with buttons and stuff on it. So like he is a Gen Con quote unquote veteran.
yeah.
So like
There were some moments like that where it's like, what is this adding to the story? Like for a second, you're like, oh, is it going to be like he's sick and this is like he's worn out from doing a bunch of stuff? But
yeah.
I have a feeling it was that like they needed to put some nods in there. Like maybe there was
Hmm.
like some funding or something, and like or just for whatever reason, like little nods to some. Like there was another example where like one of the guys like walks in and high fives a dude at a random booth,
Yeah.
and I just like, is that because it didn't add or detract anything from it, didn't do anything to the story,
Yeah, it was just
but
there.
I
But I
feel
mean
like it was
I
probably
feel like it
just
was
like
kind of this
like just an Easter egg kind of thing.
yeah, a little Easter egg thing. Like the that's kind of what your first day at Gen Con
Yeah,
is you're taking 5 laps and you're seeing people you haven't seen for a year
yeah,
and kind of reconnecting and then getting into actually doing stuff.
right.
I
And
still remember
it was funny
uh
listening to or you guys talking about like, man, that game, the card game sounds kind of awesome that they're playing. I'm like, yeah, it was
it's
L5R.
L5R.
It was pretty cool, and I never got to play it at that level that they play it in there. But from what I heard, there was a reason why it was very popular for a time.
Mm. Is it did it get stopped?
Yes, so the original card game went on for a while. It was from AEG,
Hmm.
um, and then when it started to die off, that's when FFG just straight up bought the property. Not like like the license. They were like, we want L5R, and then
Yeah.
that's when they made it as an LCG instead of a CCG. Um, and it went on for a couple years until it died there. And now it still
Okay.
exists as like they still do like the role playing game stuff, and like I think they're
Gotcha.
doing a game. Like they put out books for it, um, and like books like fictional books and stuff for it, as well as like RPG supplements. But then they also, I think there's a new board game that's going to be debuting this year at Gen Con, set in the
Okay.
L5R world. That's more of like a kind of like people on a map sort of area control sort of a game. I don't
Did
remember
it
what.
have that Nine Empires thing? Did it have like
Oh yeah, no
the winner
the
of the tournament got to decide?
yep. No, the
Okay.
both editions of the game did that, where it was
Oh,
like the winners of tournaments. It would be like there would be a storyline, and it would end. There'd be a fork in the road where it's like, is so and so gonna do this, or are they gonna do that? And the winner of the tournament got to pick the path the story went down.
okay.
Yeah, that was. I can't tell you as much for the CCG part, but I heard that was the case. But
Gotcha.
it definitely that was something they did continue in.
Oh, see, that's kind of cool, man.
Yeah, that was the kind of that was the kind of unique bit about L5R, and why that was one reason I got so interested in it, was because of that kind of ongoing story.
To being able to shape the narrative. Yeah,
Yeah,
like that is
exactly. And it gave you a reason to like play in the tournaments. So it's like people like,
mhm,
oh, I don't want to be competitive. Well, it's like, yeah, but people aren't playing for money. They're playing for
yeah.
like, I want to change the story kind of thing.
Uh-huh. Or I want to be like the legacy and wreck the world.
Yeah,
Like,
exactly. Yeah, it didn't have that sort of impacts where it's like, oh, we're gonna make it so this type of gameplay isn't allowed or isn't functional anymore.
feasible
That's
anymore.
what that's one of those like, we're gonna take it and stretch this a bit so we have a plot for a movie.
Yeah. That but like in the movie, that
Yeah,
was pretty epic of like, oh, it's a giant zombie. I'm gonna resurrect your entire race.
yeah.
And then you can't feed them so they all die. Looks like having food's not the worst idea ever.
You starved a starvation deck. So so the next day, after we got up, Ryan and I, because we were waiting on Philip again, um, we started playing Freelanders from Plaid Hat Games. It's their newest Crossroads game. And then Philip eventually came in and joined us. While I get it pulled up, why don't you tell him about how Freelancers plays?
So Freelancers is pretty sweet. There's a companion app, which we love the companion apps.
We
Also
do.
has uh, there are there are certain extra game functions that can get divvied out between your players. And it so like the influence tracker, that was a job. The health and that kind of stuff, that was a job. You just they weren't really, it wasn't like you were taking over and be like, oh, it was just, hey, we need someone to move these dials. That's you now. The character creation is kind of cool because your character sheet is actually two sheets
Yep.
that you have to put next to each other. And which Chris discovered very quickly. He was like, wait a minute. What are you doing at the camp action? I don't have that as an option. What the hell are you talking about?
Yeah.
Oh, based on your character sheet, you had different actions you could do in a camp to mess around with stuff. So that was fun. The
I did play a
speaking of,
gunslinger.
he did play
I did play.
Gunslinger. Yes.
Yeah. So I was like, I'm flipping. There's all sorts there's all sorts of classes in there. Like there's like private eye. Like you got your standard ones like warrior and bard and stuff. But there's like a
Yeah, those classes
witch.
suck. The best dung farmer.
Yeah.
Okay,
I
best
saw
class
dung.
ever.
I saw dung farmer. I was like, Philip's gonna want to play that.
100% dung farmer
and then
was the
uh,
best class.
and then I saw gunslinger, and I was like, that's cool. Like that'd be kind of I like Western style, you know, throwing some guns. when then you find out no, they literally mean you're slinging guns as
Slinging.
your weapon is you're throwing guns at people, and ends up coming into play later when your crossroads thing of like you have kind of like a showdown of throwing guns at people. So it's like that's the whole during the whole game is like my attacks where I'm just taking these like you get like a box of guns and I'm just throwing guns, no bullets, just throwing the guns at people. So I thought that was hilarious. And
They're
then
probably loaded. You're probably throwing loaded
who
weapons,
knows?
but no
I'm
one knows how to use the weapon, so they're just throwing it back at you.
yeah.
That was we did the companion stuff was cool because it would one of the things you could get is titles,
Yep.
and it was like, oh, is does anyone have the title The Perfect Decoy? Like, yes, we do. Okay, cool. Bam. Um, here in the book that had all of the encounters in it, it was like, yeah, option number 4, you don't have to do that anymore.
Yeah. Yeah,
That's
that was the
locked out.
thing is like it did kind of like it was kind of playing like a dungeon crawl
Mhm.
without having to have a DM. So if you've got somebody that's ever wanted to play like an RPG, but you wanted to maybe you don't have enough to get a party together or they don't feel comfortable committing to a group, this would definitely be able to get that kind of feel because like the map in the middle, like the book adventure book opens up and it basically has a list of like here's the actions you can do in a round, and so it's like everybody picks an action and sometimes you have to do specific actions and sometimes there are actions that multiple people can do, um, and then you kind of like flow chart it down through everything. So it was really cool.
It's definitely a good time.
But yeah, I would definitely play that again, especially trying out some of the other classes, other missions, that sort of thing. And then you still get the kind of like dice rolling combat piece. Um,
Yeah, yeah. The
like
the adding the everyone gets a D20 and then like that bonus
yeah, the
die
bonus die piece. Yep.
for your stuff. Except they need a few more ways to get rid of corruption, I think,
Yeah. But maybe it
instead
was
of
just
just
like we
rolling a.
we were on also like the basic map, so there may have been other
Okay,
things that we didn't know. But I would
that could
definitely
be
say
good.
this is the perfect kind of game for like if your D&D group can't get together. So like you
Mm,
want to you want to consistently meet, but maybe only like 2 or 3 people can get together. Then it's like okay, boom, we're gonna play freelancers. I'm trying to. I don't remember how many.
more than 2.
Yeah. I'm trying to see if I remember how many different adventures. It's not saying here on their website, but I can't remember. There was definitely a few.
And I could definitely see a way to digitize it fully, just because I'm a big fan of always doing that.
Da, 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 da. Let's see if a board game geek has it. So, but then when we finished that up, and then Ryan made us some barbecue. That was good. And some
Yes.
quesadillas. We ate barbecue one night and then quesadillas the next night, or for leftover barbecue, it turned into
Yeah.
quesadillas. Um, and then I had okay 5 highly replayable campaigns is what it says. So I think one of ours was a camp. I think one full game, which that was like 4 hours of gameplay,
Yeah.
was
That was
like
that was good.
one campaign. So there's like 5 of them, and each one had like a branching path. So like even if we played the entire game completely different, because you got to figure there's new characters or new classes that aren't in the first
Mhm.
one, so there's different options that pop up. So there's like those 5 campaigns could be played a whole bunch of different ways, and even then there's multiple paths up around the mountains to go, or
Okay.
the village you can go. So uh, you could take a complete. Where this time we're gonna go around this way, and
Right.
there was a couple of dungeons we never even really got to do because we went different ways. We wanted to go to like the treasure
Yeah.
golem and stuff.
Like we could have gone through. Like that one.
There was like a
We didn't do
rapids.
the Chaos Tower. We didn't do
Yeah.
the
Oh
Lawful
yeah, there was a
Shrine.
lot
Yeah.
of stuff we didn't do. Um, but then we got to. So I have been wanting to play forever. I've been wanting to run a group through Dungeon Crawl Classics. So I played
Hmm.
this during the Gen Con online, and then I ended up buying the book. You've seen us talk about the Love Mutants of Castle Heartache, and I've been wanting to run a game of this because it's such a fun concept, especially the beginning, where it's like you just roll up four. Each person has four level 0 adventurers, and then you run what's called a funnel, which is most of the party's going to die. You continue playing whoever's left. But a lot of our again, it's one of the circumstances where it's just not the type of game that our group likes to run. They're like, oh, that doesn't sound very fun to me, or it's not the kind of game I want to play, which is fine. Everybody's got their thing. But then I was like, Ryan kept kind of looking at it and picking it up and reading through it. So I was like, okay, we're gonna like I brought it. I was really wanting to try and get it done. So we put it out on the table. Um, so we played just the two people. So eight characters total. Um, what did you think of the character creation, which is just like roll
The
the
character
dice
creators
straight
were great.
down?
Yep. Roll. No taking four, dropping the low. It was like
Yeah.
no. Yeah. You rolled three. Put down the damn three, and it's not
And
even
not
you get to
even
pick where it is.
you can't even choose. Yeah, it's just like, okay, now I'm rolling the strength check. Now I'm
Uh
rolling
huh.
like intelligence. So it's
Yeah,
not even like,
that
well,
was.
I'm gonna put my lowest score here because I want to be
No.
a wizard or whatever.
Yeah, we had that stuff. Oh, yeah, that was.
Yeah, like I think there were several of the party members that had like 1 HP.
Uh huh.
So they took any amount of damage and they're gone. Like I said, you're level 0 adventures. So
Yeah, you
we
got
ran
nothing.
Sailors of the Scarless Sea. Um, so I mean, so one thing I don't like is it leans very much into that '80s old original D&D style art, which
Mm.
I like the fact that we have computer aided graphics now.
Mm.
I mean, it's not really my forte, but I like the style of like the narrative style of it. So that's why I'm willing to overlook it.
Mm.
But and then Philip killed the party again and survived.
Did I kill the party?
Yes, because one of your guys was the one that uh they I will say though they were very cautious with their party of level
Of
zeros.
eight.
Where like
Yeah.
as I'm starting to describe something, they're like, we're gonna go somewhere else. Like the ground's getting very warm. Up, nope. You know what? That
Yep,
let's go over there instead. Or like you come up to this well and things are happening. Nobody said they looked in because that would have been bad. You would like it literally if you looked, you would have gotten sucked in.
Yep.
But
Like, no, we're not. No.
they managed to go. They managed to make it down to or started to go to the second level, and there was like a crack in the wall, and they're like, "We're going to investigate this crack." And there was like a door there that was like locked, and there was these wards, and like somebody went to try and force it open. I thought it was one of your characters, and
Oh, I think it might have been one of mine.
it
Yep.
set off a fire ward that incinerated everybody in the hallway, except for there was the beggar
Yeah, the beggar
that had
who
the most
had
hit
like
points.
agility out the ass and the most hit points. Yeah.
And so he just like gathered up all the loot that everybody else dropped and hightailed it back to town.
Took my crutches, went back to town.
So for the
Told
second
everyone I could see. Yeah, don't go there.
for
Shit happened.
for the second time, Philip gets his name on the golden dirt bag once I find it.
Hey.
So all in all, and then of course we had cookout on Sunday before we left.
Exactly. Yeah, you gotta have cookout.
So all in all, I had a blast. It was so much fun. It was great seeing Ryan again because I haven't seen him in like 10 years, I think. Since yeah, but had a fun playing those games. Definitely need to make it more of a reoccurring yearly thing. And like I said, just next time, start planning it now.
Yeah. Uh huh.
Or at least like 6 months in advance instead of instead of like a month or two beforehand, and then get
Yeah.
some more people. But yeah, had a lot of fun. Any other comments you got, Philip?
No, that's all I got.
All right. Well, then I'm going to go ahead and stop the stream here. Thanks, everybody, for continuing to support us, even though we're sending this out to everyone. If you like this episode, then you need to go drop $1 a month at the Patreon, because this is pretty much what you get all the time, is us just talking about stuff. And then, when there isn't as much stuff, that's when all the news stories we didn't talk about, I'll bring those out
Yep.
and stuff. So, and then we'll see you in 2 weeks. Bye.